Well, good morning. It is great to see all of you here in this big auditorium, but also to all that are connected by video and webcast and all the other methods of technology that people watching from all around the world. So what a great morning. Or if you're in some parts of the world, maybe it's a great evening. And it's great to all be connected in this way, though. Leslie, that was pretty impressive. I was sitting there watching and thinking about the accomplishments, and I have to say, it was really, isn't it something to really be proud of? And that you see the steps that have been taken and the progress we've made. But you know, at Walmart, we celebrate our accomplishments for about 30 seconds, don't we? And then we want to move ahead. We want to start saying there's much more on this journey, and it's time to accelerate our progress to new levels. And I think that's what this morning is about. We'll do a little bit of celebration and appreciation, but today, it really is about moving ahead even more. So I do want to welcome all of you here to this meeting. Our visitors that are here, Walmart associates. Matt, over 2,000 people connected. It's pretty impressive, and to the countries connected around the world. So we do hope you'll have a good couple of hours today. But what's really important is not the 2 hours here. It's what do you do with it after the meeting is over. And that's what hopefully will inspire you this morning to want to do even more, to be even more engaged in this journey that we're all on together. Now, most of you know I'm a retailer at heart. But back early in my career, like Eduardo, I had some engineering training. And my roots as an alumni of Georgia Tech, as an engineering school, go pretty deep. What that really means is I like metrics. I like measurements. I like to set goals and measure results. I guess it comes with that kind of quantitative measurement approach. But you've heard it said, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And so today, we are going to talk some about measurements in this area. So in some ways, we've got measurements already. We think there is a need for much more in this area of measurement, and we're going to spend some time this morning on that, and that's why I'm smiling. That's why I especially like today's meeting. It goes back to some of this engineering, I think. Before I get to that, though, I want to step back. I think in every meeting, you want to stop and think about the customer, the consumer, today, and the customer, the consumer of the future. And all customers worldwide then create society, the societies of the United States and the societies of the world, the markets all around the world. I do believe consumers and societies today have much higher expectations of us as retailers and suppliers. And so I do believe there's three of those expectations that we should talk about here before we even get into the measurements. First, the economic crisis. This time that we've been going through, I do believe this has brought on a new normal of how consumers view consuming, shopping, and how they view the expectations of retailers. Of course, customers today still want to save money even more, but they're also smarter about it. They understand about what they're spending more than ever. And I think the economic crisis has helped to contribute and accelerate this. And I don't think this is a short-term thing. Customers really wanting to save money, this is going to continue, and if anything, even more so in the future. A second change that creates higher expectation from society, from customers, relates to information, the speed of information. If you think of the internet, but also we mentioned Twitter and then all the groups of sharing information and the way things work today with information, what that creates is a requirement for transparency. Customers want and will expect even retailers to have greater transparency in the future. And again, this is just going to accelerate. We might as well get used to it. Matter of fact, I think there's already something that when businesses are not transparent, they really can't have the trust of their customers, their consumers. And it's very important for us at Walmart, this area of transparency to our customers. Third, I'd say, would just be getting back to some facts. A fact approximately today is that the world population is about 6.7 billion inhabitants of the world. The estimate is that 2050, that year, that there'll be over 9 billion. So the other situation related to that is that we're depleting the natural resources of the world. If we were to keep on the pace we're going, then we, of course, would face very, very serious issues in the decades in the future. But at Walmart, we're about helping people save money and live better. You can't come to a meeting like this without hearing it and seeing it. Think about living better. Think of the next generations. And we want to find ways that we should be working on today that future generations can live better. So if you think of all around the world, the people of the world would want to live and aspire to middle class, to have good food on their table, to have good, safe products in their homes. And that's what Walmart is all about also, worldwide. And we think that there are ways to do that. And that's why also we're talking today. So, this does mean this greater level of responsibility for all of us, for retailers, for suppliers, and our other partners that are here today is very, very important. I do have to step aside a second on the discussion, and even as I think of customers, tell you one more story. Johnny Dobbs picked me up at 7 o'clock one morning last week, and Johnny and I went and visited one of our return centers. Many of you that don't work at Walmart, you'd say, what is a return center? I'll try to give you a quick description. If you think of a customer who buys a product and it's defective, they're not happy with it, they return it to the store, it goes to the service desk. You return it, you get a credit back as a customer. Did you ever wonder what happens to all those products? Okay, they flow back through the back of the store, a reverse supply chain, through our logistics network, all this defective product, and back, and they're consolidated around the United States. This is a U.S., even though this happens around the world, consolidated in these distribution centers called return centers. Then we'll work with suppliers, usually to return them or do something else so suppliers can see the result of defective or products that aren't up to customer standards. So Johnny and I spent a few hours there last week. You know that every single item, thousands of items that you see when you visit a return center, every single item, I thought of a customer, a disappointed customer, a customer that had to make that return trip to the store and go to the service desk. And it really, then the passion to serve our customers made me want to do something about it. And what do you do about it? You really raise quality, don't you? You help to exceed the customer expectations. And that's what this is all about, too. There's nothing more, I think, that when you think of kind of the opposite of sustainability and this focus on environment than defective products and that whole process and flow. So this is about saving money, and it's about giving customers what they really are looking for, the quality and exceeding those expectations. And that's why, again, we're here today and why we want to talk about how do we measure progress in the future. And it's so interesting because as you start to look through the details, there's so much hidden cost. There's so much inefficiency that a lot of this can help us to be more productive and to lower cost and to give the customer better quality and to live in a more sustainable world. So today, here at this meeting, you may have already heard a little bit of a preview. You might have already read some of the newspapers that somehow came out a little bit early. But, sometimes on these things, we just have a hard time keeping a secret. Isn't it great when you've got such great news that it somehow you want to let it out? And that's, I think, what we've done. This is great news today, and we appreciate all of the partnerships in the celebration of today's announcement. So today we are announcing that we will lead in the creation of a sustainability index. So what's the objective here? Why a sustainability index? Sounds like an engineering term, doesn't it? Well, might have a little bit of influence there too from some of the engineers around. Why? What are the objectives? A more transparent supply chain. Think of what the customer is looking for in the future. It'll drive product innovation. Product innovation is about the product itself, but it's also about quality. and it's about cost. Innovation is all about the product, and that's what we expect the objective of the index to help us and help our suppliers to drive product innovation. And ultimately, it's to provide the consumers the information that they need and desire to assess the products that they purchase in our stores and in retail stores, our competitor stores. The customer wants to know, wants transparency, and that's what this is all about. So working together with all of you and all of others that can participate in this mission will help to create a new retail standard for the 21st century. There is no doubt about it. There are 3 steps. So when we talk of the sustainability index, this is something that will start today. There's a step 1, a step 2, and step 3. I'll give you a quick recap, but you'll hear a lot more about this. Starting even today, we'll start asking suppliers a simple questionnaire, 15 simple questions. What we're asking is suppliers really to look inside their own operation, to look at how product is produced and where it's produced and what goes into how they run their business. And we'll be starting quickly here with the top tier suppliers in the United States and the international markets connected here by video. We'll already be thinking about the timelines and how to go through the process of communicating with suppliers around the world this 15-question questionnaire that we'll be asking all to be looking at. They're familiar questions that would not be a surprise to many of our suppliers. It would be relatively easy to answer for some. And then there maybe are some new questions, not all that complicated, but very systematic. And again, you'll hear from John Fleming in a little while about this, so I won't steal any more of the discussion on this. That was step 1. Step 2, we're announcing today that Walmart is helping to create a consortium of universities. This consortium will collaborate with suppliers, retailers, NGOs, and governments, really to develop a global database of information on the life cycle of products. This is where we will need a lot of help. We need the universities. We need all of you and the whole supply base to help us in the development of the database. This is where development of the metrics, the numbers, comes into play. But it becomes the foundation, I think, of even what we do in the future. Walmart is providing the initial funding for this. But we do want to invite other retailers and suppliers to participate. We see this as open, and we want this as a collaborative effort, not just a Walmart effort. We'll also be partnering with one or more leading technology companies to help create an open platform. I think the Rollin Ford, the systems area, that will work with how do you power the index, and all of this, we are looking for those technology partners to help us in this area too. Our goal is not to create our own index. I want to be real clear about it. But it's to spur the development of a common database, and a common database that could be used globally, a standard that all of us in the future could rely on. The third step, this will take a little more time. As you can see, this is a progressive process. And what we're looking at is over the next few years, to get to this third step would be to then take the data that we've developed it, and then together then make that available to customers. So if you think about a customer shopping in the store or searching information online, that a standard index, standard database would be available to tell customers about the sustainability of the products that they're purchasing. Customers could make their own choices. They can look at the characteristics of a product with much greater transparency about how product is produced and all the components of products. We want to make the data available to customers. And I think that's where we will really kind of start to have a real influence and a real benefit to the consumers and what the consumer is looking for. It'll put the customer in charge. And I say today already the customer's in charge, but even more. The transparency in the future gives the customer the wheel. And I think that's what we want. We want what the customer wants, and it's clearly that that's where the customer is headed. Our chief merchants from Walmart, Sam's International, will really be talking about this some more as we go on throughout the meeting this morning. So I want to be real clear on a few key things. This is not about running out and creating hundreds of iterations of new costly data. We shouldn't go off in a lot of different directions creating data. That's why common work together is so important, to be efficient in the way we go about this effort. That's why we want to work with you, our partners, in creating the right information. And I should say, I think it's important that the database focus on the areas where we can get the most benefit and our customers can get the most benefit initially. So, we carry lots of products in our stores. We'll have to work with suppliers on prioritizing and approaching this in intelligent ways to be efficient in the task. Of course, I want to say that information that's proprietary, whether it's supplier or retailer, will stay that way. This is not about breaking down proprietary information on the development of products. This really is about sharing and, if anything, just being more transparent about the product itself. And let me be perfectly clear on a point that I'll just emphasize a second time. This is not a Walmart effort, a Walmart standard. We see this as a universal. This is not a U.S. standard. Our desire is this to be a global standard, that across the world, this approach would be used with all retailers, all suppliers, in all countries. So working together, we believe we can shape the sustainability index into a very, very powerful tool. Now, we believe with this, all of us will do an even better job for our customers. The index can help to raise quality and lower cost. That's our purpose with serving our customers. It will create even more innovation throughout the supply chain. When we talk supply chain, it's not just in the store or in manufacturing. The whole cycle and all of that should be considered when we want to create new innovation in this particular area. I also believe it will make us all much stronger businesses. Whatever business we're in the supply business, retailing, and others that are involved in this can make us all stronger businesses. Now, not participating, obviously, could go the other way. And I think it's one that we'd seek participation from all of our partners in this effort. And when I think about it even more personally, I think about it related to my grandchildren. I have 5 and happened last night to visit with them, and we were talking about, one of my grandchildren mentioned last night, he's writing a book. He's going to be 101 Ways to Be Green. It's really interesting how today children at 6, 8, 10 years old, this is even important to them today. When they become consumers, when they're out shopping in our stores, you can bet on it. They're going to be more conscious than we were. And so the world will keep moving this direction, and it's so critical that we move faster, that we be out in front. That's why we need to accelerate. That's why we need to partner. That's why this initiative is so very, very critical. I appreciate all of your partnership. I look forward to coming in the future to these meetings and celebrating again 30 seconds of the progress we'll be making, because we'll still have a journey to go. So thank you again very, very much.